All right, so welcome everyone. I'm in a mellow mood tonight, so bear with me on that, which is probably to your advantage, okay? Because I won't be going off. What's that?
I said we can take it.
All right, so I was a chemistry major back in the 70s, and how many of you already knew that? I've said that many times, yeah. Probably for all the wrong reasons, but I really got into chemistry and biochemistry. And then I started to get really into health, and that's what led me into chiropractic, and I was into nutrition. And we're doing a nutrition workshop at the beginning of the year, which will be the carnivore workshop. Which, I mean, I forgot how good I feel now. Sometimes you forget, like last night I had food I shouldn't have eaten. Have you ever done that? Like you're really good for a while, and then you go out and go to Maggiano's at 9:30 at night and eat some spinach, and then the next day I wake up and I feel like I used to feel. I go, that's how I used to feel. So we'll be doing that, and then I'm also going to Costa Rica. You guys know that. And I'm going to be working on a new vaccine workshop. I thought maybe I'd scare it up a little bit, see if I can get Big Brother after me again, which he will be. But I'm going to be doing that with Dr. Barkey, who I've become close friends with. He's a patient here as well. But the whole thing, I got into, like, one of the things that, I hear people all the time go, I eat all organic, we work out, I do saunas, I do all this stuff, but then they forget that the most toxic thing that they introduce into their bodies is the water that they drink. And I was talking to somebody tonight. Where are they? Oh, they're in the back there. And we were talking about like this thing. I'm going to also be doing a workshop. I'm beefing up the women's health workshop. I'm taking a book called the Period Repair Manual, which somebody recommended to me, which helps to get the hormones in balance and get you guys back on track again. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with all the xenoestrogens that's in the plastics. So, I mean, I was at church the other day. I'm not laughing, I'm laughing. And one of my patients saw me at church, and she goes, I can't believe you're drinking out of a plastic bottle. I got busted, But the problem is I go to church, or wherever I go, I leave bottles everywhere I go. So that was my way of getting around it. But then I got into all the chemistry at Cal State Fullerton, and I started to realize that the water is just horrific. But it's not only that, it's the fact that most of us aren't sick. I bet 50% of us aren't sick, we're just dehydrated. So if I could just, one of the things I try to really stress with you guys is to drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day, And I'll give you the times when you should do that, the best times. You don't want to drink a bunch of water before bed. I don't. So, because then you're up all night, interfering with that other variable of good health, which is obviously sleep. Yeah, so we got a hierarchy. Chiropractic's on top. You guys all get that. Everybody's a chiropractic patient here. It looks like everybody's a familiar face in here. And we got nutrition, and then we got sleep, and then we got, what else do we got? Being happy and grateful. I wrote a gratitude list today. Sometimes you have those days where you need to write a gratitude list. Then you got to get in touch with the planet. I went to the beach, hung out on the beach today, got some vitamin D. I got to do the sunlight workshop again. That's another good one. And then there's the stuff, I'm big on the CBD, using medicinal mushrooms to help balance out the body as well. Meditation, breath work, all those things are important. But we're going to talk about something that's simple that most people just kind of forget. So you can't live like even a millisecond without nerve flow. If they cut your head off, you're done, right? You can live 7 to 20 minutes without oxygen. I know that sounds pretty radical, but there's guys that can do that. They do it in water. I can probably do 4 minutes on a good day. Water, you can go 7 days without. Food, you can go 40 days without. I don't know how people do that. I can go maybe a day without food. All right, so next off. So this is another book that I read. Is anybody familiar with Jim Marrs? Just one other conspiracy theorist in here? Oh, of course, Richie, you're a conspiracy theorist with the rest. You're a conspiracy theorist too. So basically in this book, which is Population Control, which is a nice way for saying how they're depopulating the planet. Why would they want to depopulate the planet, do you guys think?
No food. More for themselves.
Yes, thank you. People naively say that, yes.
Why are they called conspiracy theorists?
That's a good question. Well,
Truth seekers.
that's right. We're just questioning the status quo. Thinkers, yeah. How corporate owners are killing us.
You gotta get rid of that.
So he said the number one way we're being poisoned is through our water. So if he's saying that, I actually feel I don't know if you guys have noticed it lately, but we've had some bad air lately. Has anybody else noticed that? Or am I the only one that looks up to see that the crisscross patterns? And I think that's why a lot of people have this funky cough that's going around, is because you're all breathing a bunch of toxic metals. So as part of the nutrition workshop, I'm also going to be doing a detoxification workshop to teach you how to clean out. I just finished doing a liver cleanse, because my problem is I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is usually liver, so I did the liver cleanse. I did a parasite cleanse, and next we're going to do a heavy metal cleanse to get all the things that are in my body, which there's a lot of stuff in my... We're all big filters, so everything you eat, drink, and breathe gets stuck in the filter, so you got to clean that thing out once in a while. Yeah, that's the chemtrail cough. You just coughed. All right, yes. That's what I call it.
I think it's from the hangers.
Yeah, it could be that too. It could be both. I think it's both. Yeah. So this is another book that I read. You're not sick, you're thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medication. So we're going to go into all the different conditions, and then we're going to go into what's in your water, and then we're going to talk about I have two amazing people here, two people that I work with that are water scientists, Mark Sotinsky and Rick Allen here. All right. Main minerals in your water: calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. Anything else you want to add to that list, Mark?
That's probably it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right. Welcome. Okay. Because Mark's the one that does the drinking water systems where we replenish the minerals after it's been through reverse osmosis. He'll explain all that in a little bit. Okay, so a lot of people think that drinking crap is drinking water. My dad's the perfect example of that. One of the things, if I could get my dad to drink more water, it would be a miracle, because all the problems that he complains about is because he's dehydrated. But he thinks drinking coffee and Pabst Blue Ribbon and wine in a box is the remedy, okay, which is not. But again, there's other things that we drink. A lot of these sports drinks that are supposedly replacing our electrolytes are loaded with things like high fructose corn syrup and artificial colors, which are all toxins, which are depleting the water that's in your body. So one of the things I had last night was what? I had pasta last night at Maui. Of course I did, right? Which I had gluten, and I feel it today, you know, on top of that friggin' spinach. So the thing, that's one thing about getting older. You're not as resilient as you used to be. Does anybody else feel that? Like, remember when we were 20, we could party like rock stars and get up the next day, and you would feel more. If I eat gluten, I feel it the next day. All right. Most of the water that you buy, like at the store, like people that are drinking out of plastic bottles, like I got caught doing that at church, but I don't do it very often because I'm really super concerned about drinking xenoestrogens. I don't want to feminize myself, and that's okay if you do. Okay, just saying that right up front. Okay, but I was at a seminar in Phoenix, Arizona, and no, it was Sedona, and we were going to the grocery store, and I saw they have these pallets of water sitting in the hot. It was 120 degrees. They had it sitting out there in front of the store, and I'm thinking, who in their right mind would buy that stuff? Because all those xenoestrogens, probably a lot of their crops being leached into that water, and you know, most of it's probably just tap water to begin with. So it's better that you know the water that you're drinking is. If you're like, here's this deal. I actually bought this system from the water breweries. Everybody know who the water breweries? Yeah, a long time ago. And then I started working with Mark after he installed it for me. And the thing is, you're going to brew your own water every day. You're going to make sure you know what you're getting every day, okay? And you can set the pH on whatever you want to set it for as well. And there's different, people have different philosophies on that. All right, so what are the other things in the plastic water bottles? There's xenoestrogens, which affect your reproductive health, breast, ovarian, prostate cancer. You got BPA in there. And then the other thing is, it's like, I'm a huge environmental guy. I'm not going to go full left wing on you guys, but not that that's bad either. I'm just saying that's me. Can I just be myself tonight? Is that okay? Okay, good. But it's just like, I'm going to Costa Rica, right? And they're super into like recycling and keeping the place clean, but the beaches are just literally littered with just massive amounts of plastic. And to me, that's it's okay for us, but you see all these animals that are subjected to all that stuff, And a lot of it's just because a lot of these ships just dump all that plastic out. I mean, if there's any way we could eradicate plastic bottles on the planet, that would be great. In fact, I think that's one of the, like I said, in Costa Rica, they don't even allow plastic bottles in Costa Rica. And there's a viable source of that, and that's, I read a book called Hempbound, using cannabis product to make actually hemp plastic that would be biodegradable. And again, it would leach off all these different bad chemicals into your water. All right, so yeah, there's going to be times when you travel or wherever you can't take your own water on the plane. So yeah, I have to step up and buy some Fiji water or something when I'm on a plane, because I'm not going to. I don't even trust the stuff on the. I mean, wherever I go, like I went to the restaurant last night, I bring my own water to the restaurants. I'm not going to drink tap water ever, you know. And I was in British Columbia once, and the lady was bragging to me. Like I said, I don't usually drink tap water, and she goes, "Well, our water's super clean here. We don't put fluoride in it." And I go, and then I went to smell it, and it smelled like a chlorine pool, and I had her smell it, you know. And I go, "Yeah, you got chlorine. Chloramine's in there, right? Is that what they put in there now? Not the chlorine, because the chlorine doesn't even work anymore." Some of the symptoms of having thirst would be fatigue, irritability, anxiety is a huge one, depression. Like, has anybody in here ever had a hangover? Just two people?
Never. Of water?
Oh,
I
KK.
think just one. I've had more than one.
Or maybe you can't remember. Is that what it is? Yeah, so when you have a hangover, why do you have a hangover the next day? Because you're totally dehydrated. So, again, that's why you feel miserable. So, they did a study on Prozac versus drinking water versus a placebo. Water did the best, just out of the box, and then you don't have the side effect of what? Taking the antidepressants, which are really, really, really hard to get off once you get on those things. Anger is another one. Insomnia. Maybe I should drink more water before I go to bed. And then you have all these weird cravings, whether it's coffee, alcohol, shortness of breath, attention span, because your brain needs to be hydrated heavily, okay? And the other thing that dehydration does is one of the things we always talk about in here is what? The fight or flight reflex, right? Which is sympathetic dominance. When you're dehydrated, it's going to push you into a stress state, creating sympathetic tone, which creates that whole cascade of everything else. What are some of the things that happen in fight or flight? Name a couple.
Sweating, your eyes dilate.
Your eyes dilate. What else? Sweating. Yeah. What else? What happens to your heart rate? What happens to your blood pressure? What happens to your sugar? It goes up. What happens to what else? What else? What happens to your cognitive function? It goes down. So, what if we can minimize? So, what the adjustments do? I'm supposed to write an article on life extension for Truth About Cancer, because I was at a concert and this just happened the other day. Somebody goes, he was 68 and I'm 65, and he couldn't believe I was 65. He goes, "What's the secret to longevity?" And I go, "It's chiropractic." But the whole secret is we can minimize the amount of time that you're in sympathetic dominance. So the adjustment, so everything that you can do that minimizes that sympathetic tone is going to produce a healthier you by pushing you into what? Parasympathetic, which is rest and digest and rebuild a healthy new you. Depression. So depression is basically, like I talked about, I'm not going to get into all the different chemistry here. It's a little bit over my head sometimes, but you just, when you're in that sympathetic dominant state, you're going to be in a more depressive state. You see these kids puffing on inhalers. My dad's the perfect example of somebody that has allergies. Like anytime the Santa Ana winds blow, he gets allergies. Part of it's because you're dehydrated. Your lungs need to be covered with water, and if you're dehydrated, what your body does is it puts mucus over the lungs to prevent water loss, and that's why it gets difficult for you to breathe. Same thing with your sinuses. Obesity. Why is that? Because a lot of times you're not really hungry. You're what?
Thirsty.
You're thirsty, so you're eating food instead of doing what you should be drinking. Okay. And a lot of times too, if your body's super toxic, your body's going to hold a lot of that water on as well. So if we can get you cleaned out and then get you to drink more water, it's going to help flush all the garbage that's in your body out. High blood pressure is a huge one because your blood is what? 90% water, And if you don't drink enough water, I already said it's going to push you in that sympathetic dominant state, right? So how many people do we know that are on high blood pressure meds that probably it just could be just water, or it could be that sympathetic tone? Okay, but if your blood's thicker because it's less hydrated, is it going to be harder to pump or easier to pump? Harder. Thank you, KK. You're getting all the questions right tonight. All right, cholesterol goes up, and I don't even think cholesterol is the problem that it's promoted to be. In fact, I just had blood work done. Mine's like 265, but then again, my testosterone is also super high. If you decrease your cholesterol, you're going to decrease your growth hormones and your testosterone at the same time, and your brain is what? Like, huge percentage of your brain is made out of cholesterol, so that's also going to create those cognitive problems as we get older as well. So, it's the cholesterol hoax. Intestines. Like I talk to, sometimes, I talk to people that have a bowel movement every 4 or 5 days, and I go, what's going on? A lot of it's what? Low back stuff, right? A lot of it's because they're eating garbage. A lot of it has to do with they're not being properly hydrated. And the other thing is your body needs to what? Move. The house square need to move to get the feces to flow through the large intestine. But you got to keep that thing lubricated, or you're creating all these bricks. It shouldn't be like a workout in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandfather used to be in the bathroom for a half an hour. I don't know what he was doing in there, but I'm usually in and out within like a couple minutes, if that. But I had bread last night, though.
Shame on you.
I know. I'm feeling it today, too. Maybe that's why I'm so mellow tonight. Maybe you can feed me bread more often. Headaches. Oh, my God. How many times do people have Again, same thing. You have a headache when you're what? You have a hangover, right? It's because your brain is dehydrated, right? So you think your brain needs to be hydrated so it can move around in there without any friction. And if it's not hydrated, so you're getting all that friction, the meninges and stuff going on in there. This is like goes without thinking. When you have knee pain or ankle pain or hip pain, or you have like systemic pain in all the joints, it's because those joints, like you understand that a car needs to be lubed. Does everybody understand that, right? And if your joints aren't properly lubed, then everything gets stuck. I mean, you think about it. And the other thing that happens too as well is that you get these discs are like what? They're like sponges, and if they're not, number one, if they're not properly hydrated, they're going to go through degeneration. And I can always look at somebody's x-rays and I can say, you don't like to drink water. And they'll go, how did you know? I go, because they have uniform thinning of almost all the discs, especially in the cervical spine. Now, if they got one disc that's degenerated, like C5, C6 is usually the area that it happens, it's going to be the fact that we have a focal subluxation there where there's no movement, because these discs love movement, they love hydration. What else do they love? Collagen. So that's why I get you guys doing that collagen. It's not only good for your joints, it's good for your skin, keep your skin tight so that you're not like, you don't have saggy skin, because as we get older, our body makes less collagen, and then what happens is then we lose that elasticity not only in our skin but on all the joints, especially the disc and the spine. And then the movement of the spine is also important for what?
Brain.
Your brain, right? So when you, like John gave me a good testimonial, right, John? You don't have to say anything. But like after he got adjusted the first time, he said he thought he could think better, which is a reality, you know, because you got all these mechanoreceptors in the upper cervical spine. You got them all throughout your spine. You got a high density in your upper cervical spine that feed your brain healthy nutrition, neurological nutrition. That's why, to prevent this next epidemic, which is what? Cognitive decline, I feel that chiropractic should be a major player in that. CBD would be good for that, for lowering inflammation in the brain, drinking clean, healthy water, going to more of a carnivore diet, which I'll teach in the beginning of the year, without all the plant toxins that people are eating and not knowing, like spinach. Spinach is death, okay? So is turmeric, okay? Things like heartburn, dyspeptic pain, angina, bulimia, migraines, colitis, all these things are morning sickness, rheumatoid pain. I mean, and then if we can get your body more what? Alkaline versus acidic, that's also going to help with a lot of the itises, right? The itis, there's not too many itis. Arthritis, bursitis, tendonitis are all, and then when you pour acid on that, it's going to also make that more aggravated. All right, this is probably the best. I get up every morning and I drink some water, right? And then I make my bulletproof coffee. Mondays and Wednesdays and now Fridays I do intermittent fasting where I don't even eat. I just do the bulletproof coffee and the water. I will also take a lemon. I used to juice the lemon, but now I'm just taking the whole lemon. Not the whole lemon, a quarter lemon, putting in the Vitamix and mixing in water with that. Mixing in some apple cider vinegar in there. I'll put some BioCell in there, which works good with the collagen, right? I think I have this recipe somewhere. And then you want to drink water whenever you're thirsty. And then you want to drink a bunch of water at a meal. You want to eat it before, have water before and after, basically 2.5 hours after meals. And then you want to make sure you hydrate properly for exercising. So when I go surfing, I chug a bunch of friggin' probably almost a liter of water before I even paddle out. Because
You could
I could pee in my wetsuit. What other sport can you do that, right? And it's actually refreshing, you know what I'm saying? But then you got to make sure you wash your wetsuit afterwards, okay? To make the wetsuit last longer. All right, I'm big on the sea salt thing too. So the last time I had blood work done, prior to the one I just got back, my sodium was low just because some of the stress that I'm going through. And my dad's was low as well. And I just got him doing the sea salt. His is back up at like 140. Mine was at 145, which is at the high end of normal, which is where I want to be. So when you're under a lot of stress, again, your body's going to burn up sodium. It's going to burn up vitamin C, and it's going to push you into those other stressors of the high blood pressure, cholesterol stuff, okay? And then I try to salt my food as much as I can to taste. I think a lot of us are salt deficient. If we can get more salt in our diet, it's going to be beneficial. More fruits and what? No veg. This was way before I did the carnivore diet, okay? Just because there's so many inflammatory phytotoxins in your food, you want to limit probably some of the vegetables, but we'll save that for the beginning of the year, and I'll teach you all that stuff. And prevent you from getting everything from arthritis to kidney stones, gallstones. All those are because you're eating way too many lectins and oxalates and all the other things that are in your vegetables. All right, let's talk about what's in your water. I mean, it's like amazing. You know, it's like amazing the body can even still process some of this stuff. To me, the number one thing that I really got on board with starting to study was the fluoride that's in your water. Because my mom was what? She was a dental hygienist, right? And remember they used to put that red crap on your teeth and you're supposed to brush it off? Like that was the everybody thought fluoride. And there's even dentists now that still promote fluoride, which to me is mind-boggling because it's not like people use fluoride's natural. It's not even fluoride. It's hydroxylic
Acid.
Hydrofluorosilicic.
Okay. Hydrofluorosilicic. It's not fluoride. It's basically a waste product of fertilizer production and aluminum production, and then they figure, well, we can't dump it in the water and kill all the fish, and we can't dump it here and kill all the forest, so let's convince human that it's good for their teeth. But it's a huge neurotoxin. It's also a carcinogen. It's not chlorine anymore, but chloramine's in the water. Is there any chlorine in the water anymore?
Some places.
Okay. We can go back to Flint, Michigan with lead, mercury, PCBs, arsenics in your, like my arsenic was high on my toxicity test. Dioxins, DDT. DDT caused what? Polio, right? You guys know that, right? Did I mention I'm doing the vaccine workshop? I did mention that. Okay. We're going to steer it up. Okay. So, I mean, people don't even know that. Well, we got rid of polio. No, we never got rid of polio. We got rid of DDT. They'll spray us like, remember when I don't know if you guys remember, but they spray everybody with, you remember that, Mark? Yeah.
I've seen the film.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know. In point of fact, fluoride causes more human cancer death and causes it faster than any other chemical. Dean Burke. Fluoride side effects: cancer, brain damage, bone weakness, dental fluorosis, and it doesn't even actually protect your teeth. You can actually sometimes tell when somebody's had a little too much fluoride because you'll see that their teeth almost have a yellow tint to them. It lowers estrogen and testosterone levels, damages stomach. Take a picture of that. You can read it on your own there because I know these guys want to get up here and talk about. This is the reason Hitler used to use it on the prisoners, right? It makes people docile and I think that's supposed to be obedient there. Obedient? Or maybe it is obesity. Is that a word for saying obesity?
Probably okay.
Somebody look that up on their phone. They're not supposed to have it in here for me. Okay, thank you. The cancer risk for people who drink chlorinated water is 93% higher than those whose water does not contain chlorine. I don't know. Do you guys like to swim in chlorinated pools and stuff? No, or I was at a hotel once and these guys were in the jacuzzi and you could just smell. I mean, you could make your eyes water. But the same thing's true. The problem with having whole house filtration and drinking water filtration, or the filters, shower filters, is once you get clean and then you travel, you're super sensitive to it. It's like you go and take a shower in Dallas or something, you go, oh my God, I can't believe people do this. Like we need to get a travel one that we can just affix to it and clean it out. Have you thought about that, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have one?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. Why don't I know about it? Which brings me to another topic. Can I just share this real quick? Okay, so my friend Hank Williams he's one of my chiropractors. I have a lot of chiropractors. Dr. Joe's my main one. And he was complaining about he was at a hotel and the Wi-Fi was so bad. He was talking. Well, he said, I'm going to start bringing a Faraday cage and sleeping in a Faraday cage in hotels. I go, I got a better idea. This is what I do at home now. I have a whole pajama set that's lined with silver. I sleep in, and the thing works amazing. You put the EMF gauge out, and it's like 3 or 4, and then you put it underneath the pajamas, and there's no heating at all. So that's easier than taking a Faraday cage. But I've got the beanie, the hoodie, the top and the bottom. It's kind of hard to wear in the summer, though. All right. So no chlorine. We remember Flint. It's just you can't trust what's in your water anymore. That's the big thing. And then we also got all the what? Pharmaceuticals that are in there, not only from us, but also from all the animals and the runoff. I mean, you just think about people that flush that stuff down the toilet or stuff that's in their urine that gets into the water supply. It's just horrific. And the other thing that most people don't think, we all talk about the probiotics and the microbiome and all that. You just have to also think that if you're drinking chlorinated water, you're probably killing all the gut flora off. And your gut flora is responsible for a lot of your immunity. It's also responsible for a lot of the neurotransmitters for your brain. So again, you got to go back to thinking like a caveman. We didn't drink chlorinated, fluoridated water with PCBs in it and all the other crap. And we wonder why we have this explosion of cancer and neurodegenerative diseases and just all the arthritides that we have is because we're drinking just toxic soup. And it's only going to get what? Worse. Because these things are cumulative. It's not like they're going to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Arsenic. Yeah. Prostate, liver, lung cancer. That's if you want to kill somebody fast. That's the way you do it, right? This is the one that I thought was really, it's atrazine herbicide, which causes endocrine disruption, and they did a study on these frogs, so that atrazine dematerializes, chemically castrates and feminizes exposed amphibian larvae, resulting in hermaphrodites or males with testicular oocytes at metamorphosis. So basically what they're saying is it causes a little problem with what? Sexual differentiation. What they took is all these male frogs, were super male frogs that were all basically castrated. And I don't know if that's something they planned on doing or it's just a side effect of just spraying the planet with atrazine and all the other Roundup and all the other chemicals that we use. It's like sometimes I think I would rather have the insects than the chemicals. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I would. Like they came to my house the other day and they wanted to check my citrus tree in the backyard. I go, I don't want you spraying any crap on there. We're going to have a moth or whatever the problem is then.
That's the roboticized.
Yeah, well, we don't want to talk about that tonight. This is supposed to be a happy workshop. And then we have all these people with what? Thyroid problems, right? Why is that? Well, you got degeneration where? I already told you. C5, C6, that's the nerve supply to the what? Thyroid. But also fluoride, chloride, bromide is going to compete with iodine. Okay, so when you've got an increased amount of these other chemicals in it, competes for those binding sites in your thyroid, that's what's going to down-regulate the thyroid function. So if you can minimize the amount of these chemicals you're getting, you're going to get the fluoride and the chloride in your water, but this is what you're going to get in baked goods, and then you also get those same endocrine disruptors in your water. Okay. Anybody have any questions before I bring the other guys up? Anybody in here not a patient? I think one person in the back row. Okay, so we've got specials on the drinking water. This would make a great Christmas gift for somebody that you love. Okay? It's $200 off the drinking water, and then Rick has to do an estimate on your house. Right, Rick?
Yeah, we got a deal though.
Okay. And then $27 off the shower filter if you buy these tonight, okay? And anybody have any questions about that? You guys are really quiet.
That shower filter price should say $230, not $250.
Okay.
So
You want me to fix
know,
that?
It's actually $230.
I'll fix it later. $230 versus $250. You guys got that? And then we'll talk about the travel shower filter. Who wants to go next?
First, Mike, do you want me first?
Yeah. Sure.
All right, let's welcome up
Beauty.
Rick Allen.
Hi guys.
He's going to be more lively than me.
I don't know. I didn't go to Maggiano's last night.
No.
No, but I had a glass of wine though. Okay, guys. Between Mark and I, we're coming up. I just figured this out, Mark. We're coming up on a century in the water business.
A century?
Century. I've been doing it for 44 years. These long term. My company is partnered with Innate. My company is Pure Elements Water. We do whole house filtration and salt-free water conditioning. I'm going to go contrary to chiropractic for a minute and talk to you guys about treating your house as something that you actually want to treat your water situation from the outside in, at least in my humble opinion. So when you're talking about all of this massive list of chemicals and things that Bill's running through, people aren't really aware, but the greatest area of exposure to the carcinogenic things in the water is in the bath and shower. It can be 8 to 20 times more exposure taking a shower, 20-minute shower a day versus drinking 8 glasses of water of any of the gaseous chemicals. So that's wild because your largest organ is what? It's your skin. And so these things are aerosol. You're in a heated environment with water. And what's happening is you're driving these things right through the pores in your skin. And then on top of that, with it swirling around in the steam, you're breathing it. And so what happens is both of those are a direct shot into your bloodstream. And if I give you guys a glass of water to drink, at least you've got the digestive tract and organs and things to do a little filtering before your body has to deal with everything. But if we jam it through your pores or directly into your lungs, you have zero protection in terms of that. So the single most important thing in our belief structure here is that getting the chemicals and things out of the bath and shower water is your best move in terms of things. I'm not downplaying the critical importance of high quality drinking water, but you want to start by getting, like I say, bigger down to smaller. And so there are so many things in the water that we're dealing with. So Bill's mentioned both chlorine and chloramines. These are things that we're putting in the water, okay? Chlorine, you guys know, we've been doing that. We stopped doing that about 30 years ago in California. There's some reasons for that, and one of the biggest reasons is that chlorine creates a whole group of things called disinfection byproducts. So it reacts with fecal matter and organics and decaying leaves and things. And what ends up happening is there's about 2,000 of these chemicals that are in 2 primary groups. They're all carcinogenic. And so I don't have a real problem with most any of your guys' municipalities, but I have big issues at the top with the EPA and the guys who are telling us what's safe. And they're tasked with something that's really, really hard to solve, because when they set legal limits for the stuff that we're all exposed to, they have to find a balance between something that can actually be financially addressed with your municipality versus saying, hey, we're going to make the municipality actually get this to a safe level, and now at a safe level you guys have a $3,000 a month water bill, so that doesn't work either. So primary to what we're talking about here with what Mark and I are doing is this gives you guys, this is one of the things in your own home that you can take control of, and you can do it in a much more financially sound manner. You're gonna have to write the check, because doing it right is not totally inexpensive. But number one thing we gotta do at the front door is remove these chemicals. When you guys go look at your water quality report, you're gonna see them all on there, and most of the time you're gonna say, oh, they're gonna say, we're great, we're golden, we're meeting the standards. But I would teach you guys, like we talk about a lot in these seminars, if you just go online and you Google Newport Beach water or Irvine water, or whatever you got, water quality report, you can look at these chemicals. If you wanna know how to read that, there's 3 things on there. So this is a lesson in that. The first thing is the legal limit. The second thing is the average that your municipality has given you guys over a year. And the third one's really important, and they have to show you the range of detections. So to give you guys an easy working example, arsenic 10 parts per billion, legal limit, it's gonna say 10. Irvine Ranch Water District 5.2, for example. Then you go to this last column and they go range of detection 2 to 15. And you go, whoa, that means on any given day, I could be facing 1.5 times the legal limit in terms of arsenic. So if you want to know what's going on in your water, take a look at the legal limit versus the highest range they found last year. And unlike us, these guys are judged on averages. So they only have to keep the average there, you know, for that year for them to meet the federal standards. So, but there is this balancing act of what we can do in our own homes and write our own checks and take control of, versus getting hammered with just an insane water bill for something that's crazy to try to do. So with that said, chlorine, that has gone the way of the dodo bird in California. They've been using chloramines for a number of years across the country in most areas. You mentioned Flint, Michigan. The real reason that Flint, Michigan had trouble was because they had an old water supply and a new water supply. They were using the new water supply, and they came and they said, hey, it's a lot cheaper if we just go back to this old one, this old water source over here. And everyone went, great, we're gonna save everybody money. And that was a lead-lined water source. They went back over there and they went, oh, there's bacteria in the water. We've got to use the soup du jour, chloramines. They put chloramines in there, and chloramines drew all of the lead into the water, literally started sucking the metals out of the pipes, and you saw the end result. So that was a whole series of missteps in terms of, I mean, it's just, it's really just idiots doing that. But that rose to a level of criminal, and they got off the hook, but people died. And children got really sick as well. So chloramines are used here for all of us as chlorine and ammonia. And the reason ammonia is in there is because they're trying to make less of these disinfection byproducts that I mentioned, this group of carcinogenic things. So once you add ammonia with the chlorine, that's what you achieve. You'll make less of the disinfection byproducts. And now as a municipality, you can meet the federal standards. But like Billy mentioned, when you put ammonia in with the chlorine, you dilute the bactericidal kill of the chlorine. So if you gotta kill things in that water, you now have to add more and more. So an example in South Orange County, in the last 15 years, the load of chloramines has gone from 0.5 part per million to I'm seeing as high as 6.5. So that's 13, 14 times the volume of this chemical in our water that they need to be able to keep everything at bay. We don't want any typhoid or anything, you know, we want water that's bacteriologically safe to our door, so I'm not, you know, advocating that you don't do it. But chloramines in their own right are carcinogenic, as is the chlorine that you talked about. So it's one of the first things you get out, but it's not easy. It took us about 5 or 7 years of testing different things to be able to get to a 99.9% removal of the chloramines, and that's where we sit with it. So, and just like in Flint, as a separate aside, has nothing to do with health, you can see the detrimental effect of chloramines on the pipes in Southern California, because I'm sure all you guys have either had or know somebody who's had a pinhole leak in their copper pipes. That is caused primarily by chloramines as the aggressor eating through the copper in combination with a hard water component. So chloramines have to get out. You got to get them out all the way. We move now to the other health-related things, all those disinfection byproducts. You want to get those as close to zero as possible. There's new stuff. You kind of touched on it. The less new stuff is pharmaceuticals. Probably you've heard about them in water for 10 years maybe. There are thousands of those. And there's no real protocol for testing whole house filtration unless you start, $500 test for every single thing. I'm kind of a fan that maybe we should have some Prozac in the water right now,
Yeah, of
with
course.
what we're living in. So,
And Viagra?
I don't know about that, Bill. Sounds like a personal problem. But, so anyway, we want to go ahead and get all of those carcinogenic things out. You mentioned atrazine, glyphosate is Roundup. Atrazine is supposed to be the better Roundup. That's supposed to be the, Roundup's killing everybody, let's use this one. And it's fully carcinogenic, and it's a nightmare. And they're doing all kinds of other things. You're talking about the fruit. You guys, I just saw something where, and you guys want to research this, you want to read the number on the label on the fruit. And I don't know if I'll get this right, but number 9 is like a genetically engineered piece of fruit that's going to hang out for like 3 years. And number 4 is like, has all the bugs and is true organic. So it probably has the pesticides and all those issues and the bugs, but it doesn't have the stuff in it that is like really bad for you with that pear if you let it sit there for 3 years. So anyway, moving on, we got to get that out. All the pharmaceuticals. The new one is the Forever Chemical Group. So to give you a read on where we are on that right now, feds have they've determined there's at least 12,000 of these Forever Chemicals. So Forever Chemicals they're fire retardant. They are in waterproof, water repellent clothing. Anytime, hope you guys aren't eating a hamburger much out, but I mean, if you get a to-go container and you got the cardboard and it looks kind of shiny, and you can tell that they gave you that because it's supposed to handle the grease, right? It's supposed to not go through the cardboard. All of that stuff. There are 12,000 that they have determined of these chemicals now, majority of which are available to you and me in our water, and they can test for 36. So we're right on the forefront of trying to figure out what that means, but we know they're all extremely carcinogenic. So all of these things are jammed through your pores, and most of them are aerosol in terms of what's going on when you're taking a bath or a shower. And even worse, if you take a 20-minute bath in your house, this stuff migrates out in the living environment and hangs out there for about 4 to 6 hours. So everybody else gets the joy of being exposed to it as well. In addition, we have heavy metals. I know you mentioned that most everybody's testing positive for heavy metals. The two I've got my eye on the radar right now and have been for a while is arsenic, which is naturally occurring up and down the coast. And secondarily is chromium-6. So chromium-6 is the Aaron Brockovich heavy metal. And those are things that you need protection from as well. So all of these things can be addressed in a whole house filtration scenario. This is a pretty standard sized system over here for a 3 or 4 bathroom house. Right out of the gate, guys, these things are starting at $4,500, $5,000 with discounts, so they aren't cheap. But to be able to have chemical-free bathing and showering, and what we achieve at that level before we get to his level, which is a whole nother level, for drinking water, is technically we're meeting the federal standards for a mountain spring mineral bottled water. So that's going to be where the natural mineral content is left in place for the water. I don't care if you're drinking out of your shower or your kitchen sink or wherever that is. It's going to have the gaseous and carcinogenic chemicals reduced and removed. It's going to have the heavy metals addressed. And last but not least, in most all the municipal waters, the pH is going to be sitting slightly alkaline. So somewhere right around 8, usually around here 7.9 to 8.1. The only thing I'm not meeting with those for that federal standard is it's supposed to come directly from the spring. I can't do that for you guys. So these filters self-clean. They automatically backwash once every 7 days or so. We address hard water issues with these as well, which I won't go into much, but I will tell you that we have a salt-free approach that is much more environmentally sound and healthy than traditional water softeners, which are horrible. They add extreme amounts of sodium to the ecosystem and create problems with drinking water and watering plants, and more than that, they create that real slimy feel like you can't get the soap off. So that's kind of a depends on personal preference, right? I call it slimy, some people call it slippery, and my 90-year-old mom calls it silky, so it's all, that's all personal preference. But the water softeners are pretty much going the way of the dodo bird, except for the big guys that you would see at Costco or Home Depot. They're still pushing a 1950, technology. It's horrible for everything. So we can address the water, those issues and all of that. The last thing and so I don't take too much of your time, you're probably gonna talk about too, and you did, is fluoride. So hydrofluorosilicic acid took me 2 years to learn to say.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is absolutely true. It's a waste byproduct of the metals and the mining industries. So back in the 40s and the 50s, when we were mining for the bomb, right, getting uranium out of the ground, we start generating this toxic stuff. And like Billy said, we started looking at it, and it's really expensive to put it in Superfund sites and things. And so there was a Democratic program where they went, well, there's lots of poor little kids that can't afford toothbrushes, they can't afford toothpaste. So this stuff supposedly is beneficial for teeth. So we're going to throw it in the water, and we're going to go ahead and help all of these poor children. Two things. That's based on a flawed study that came out of a city in Texas. And everybody in Texas, this town had really strong teeth, really strong teeth. And so they did a study, and they went, oh, we have a ton of fluoride in the water. It's the fluoride. Fluoride has made everybody's teeth strong. Well, the reality was they came back years later and they said, wait, let's look at that again. And they went, wait, this water's really high in
I don't know.
calcium.
Oh.
Strong bones, calcium. And everybody's teeth in this town were all mottled. So that's what you were talking about. Fluoride
right.
discolors teeth. It can do yellow. I know I have a little white on the bottom of mine. That's from when they put that foam on there. I know that's mine. Other people have dark brown spots and all kinds of stuff that happen with it. So there's a whole, we could put on our tinfoil hats and I'll live under that all day
Right.
long, because I know that the fluoride is meant to dumb down the population, in my humble opinion. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on with the fluoride. It's making people sick. It's related to cancer. One quick story, we do sometimes deal with people that have exotic animals or special animals. We had a guy that raised quarter horses in Colorado. And two things, city water heavily fluoridated, and when the snow would come down to the fence for all these horses, and they would literally rub their noses raw, licking the snow rather than drink the water out of the troughs because of the fluoride they knew. And the second thing is he lost his prize quarter horse, like millions of dollars on his horse, and was trying to figure out why all his horses were getting sick. So they exhumed a leg from his horse and they sent it off. And what happened with that is it had a whole bunch of bone lesions and everything, and they came back and they said the fluoride has caused this. So it was killing his horses. So it's a very serious thing. For a whole house level, this base system does not touch fluoride, nor will any base systems you guys find out there. We have a fluoride reduction system that we have, which is a 2-tank system, and we have an insane system, which is literally, we start talking at $40,000 and we'll get all of it out. The reduction one is much more reasonably done. But you can reduce the fluoride on the incoming water for your bath and shower and for your home with one of our twin tank systems. I would tell you that of our client base, at least you tell me if you're wrong, I feel about 60 or 70% of our clients that do whole house filtration augment it with what Mark's doing. And the other 30 or so percent are very happy with what we achieve at a whole house level. So you kind of can determine that and what's happening there. But you've got to put these barriers up, because this stuff is coming into your home and it's really bad for children.
Right.
So, I mean, especially, and people don't think about it, pregnant mothers, especially the fluoride, just bad. So, so I think that's probably enough. I can introduce you.
Well, one thing I want you to touch on too, I mean,
Yeah.
it's great for the showers, but also you gotta think you're washing your clothes and that stuff too.
Yep.
And sleeping on the linens and wearing the clothes, and then you're washing your dishes in toxic water too, so it's, you know.
It's everywhere. If you guys start counting how many times you touch water in your house a day, you'll be amazed at what the number is at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, in your house, what can you take control of as far as environment? Water and air.
Right.
That's it. So, so the two of us together is kind of an unstoppable combination. If you can do one or the other or whatever, that is absolutely exceptional. If you can't afford what we're doing, Mark's shower filters will allow you to go ahead and get a bead on that. It's not quite as effective as a giant filter, obviously, but it's an absolutely good barrier in terms of things coming out of the shower. And Mark's done a good job on the design on that for everything, including fluoride. So I think that's probably, unless you guys have any questions for me, or I can do that later. Anything popping
No,
up?
let's just Mark and then we'll answer questions.
Okay.
Hey, give it up for Rick. You did a great job. Thanks, Rick. I'm really honored to work with both these guys. They're both amazing. So, and Matt's the one that turned me on to you a long time ago, right?
Who?
My brother Matt.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for Mark Soltinsky. Mark's actually older than me, I think.
You want video or?
Hi guys. Originally, I'm from Europe. I just only not long time ago moved to US, and my English maybe is not as good like everybody else here.
But it's sexy.
And so just a little bit about me. I graduated in Poland from civil engineering. My major was bridges and highways. When I moved to US, I still continue education. I went to University of Long Beach and Fullerton to study water, practically. So I became the water technologist with the water treatment. That's what I learned. And from the first day, I always was concerned about quality of water in United States. When I moved here, I saw everywhere reverse osmosis filters, very similar in look to this. In Europe, you cannot buy, sell, or drink reverse osmosis water. It is danger. And in this country, you can buy from Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, you name it. This country doesn't have restrictions or some other form of controlling about water and maybe food now here also. So from the first day, I kind of look how to improve the situation. So after so many years, we come out with this kind of product. But before I will talk about this system, let's think differently about what is going on with water and filtration system here in United States. We were talking today about chemicals, about contaminants, about poisoning of fluoride, heavy metals. How this thing is happening? Just to start, about 20 years ago, there was only 6,000 known contaminants in the world, especially the study was done in United States. Today, 20 years later, we have 12,000 contaminants. So all of them are man-made contaminants, and they becoming more dangerous, and they becoming every day new ones. And we have to address this. And then we seeing increase of brain, let's say, people having fluoride poisoning, people having heavy metals, all other problems. And also environment is kind of damaging our body when we breathe, when we swim. And overall, there is tons of situation when we have to be careful about water. So looking at the filters today, we have clients who say, oh, I have filter, I have my refrigerator filter, or maybe under the counter something similar in size to this. Those refrigerator filter and similar are for aesthetics. That's only designed for good smell and good taste. They don't address those new contaminants, 12,000 today. And today, not only water is contaminated, food, especially farm-raised fish is so poisoned today that in some countries, European countries, they totally banned to sell the most popular, salmon. Yeah, you cannot buy in some countries today farm-raised salmon because it's so contaminated that actually is poisoning people who eat this. And in addition, the farms, they poisoning environment in many, many miles in the radius. So talking about fish, talking about some fruits, talking about other access to everyday life, that we eat this and we create this excessive amount of chemicals. And the same thing happened to water. That water has today practically, you can find almost 12,000 contaminants, and so we have to address those new contaminants. We have to address the high quality filters. Those who are offered in Home Depot, more likely they don't do what we're supposed to expect from the good quality filtration system. So many years, and actually every year, we kind of rethinking about the new filtration system. So finally, we come out with this model. So what is good about this model? Practically takes away those almost practically take away those 12,000 contaminants we have today. But the only say after purification, the purified water is not healthy either. It's very acidic, has very low pH, and actually create more problem than untreated water. In Europe, is banned reverse osmosis water because it's so aggressive on human bone structure that practically there are some studies showing that after 2 weeks of drinking reverse osmosis water, people start losing the calcium and magnesium from the bone structure. So totally is not good, right, to clean the water. So to kind of go and address better quality water. So after purification, water has to have several stages to put to the form of healthy water. So this system is adding back minerals, especially magnesium, calcium, potassium, and is so unique about this one because it's addressing bicarbonates. And when we aging, we're losing bicarbonates. And when we drinking water in around an area then in about like 6.5 to 7 pH, and when we drink water about 8.5, 9 pH, so resistance to sickness is much more higher than we drinking water with higher pH than lower pH. So it's very important to keep eye on amount of bicarbonates in water and also pH. And this system also address many additional targets. So since we have this environment today when it's so polluted, we eating, drinking so many those contaminants, and our health is deteriorating. And so this system is also providing hydrogen-rich water. Hydrogen is very, very important. Hydrogen will fight those environmental byproducts, health issues in our body. Hydrogen will fight free radicals, which we're creating when we eat or breathing this air here. So it is hydrogen rich, it is alkaline system, and also is ionizing. So this water from this unit is becoming a negative charge, which is, it means is ionized, and ionized water and hydrogen will fight free radicals, will improve the health. There is tons of study showing that this kind of water is the best what we can drink today. What about this?
You want to touch on the, like, everybody always wants to know about, they think Kangen's the king of water filtration.
Yeah, this idea about this system came to us. We manufactured this for about 2 years. I did research, I did kind of improvements, or study, driving, traveling along almost to different countries to see how others do. So this unit actually has everything at this moment what is the best on the world, and there is no any other unit like this available. None of them, which has so many good properties and water quality like this one.
Kangen's what, like $5,000 or something?
So Kangen machine, this is the electric machine started like 25 years ago in Japan. Japanese doctors, they figure out if we drink in ionized hydrogen-rich water in an alkaline, people getting quicker from the beds, from the hospital beds, and instead being 2 weeks, after 2-3 days, they can go home because it is so much antioxidant water that it bring people faster on feet. And so there was this company who developed this unit, this model, this system, started doing marketing in United States, and today it is about actually sometimes even up to $6,000. Electric machine, $6,000, which delivers identical water, except that is not as good like this one, because when we using electric power, metal plates, we creating artificial alkaline water. Artificial, it means lack of bicarbonates. And then it is not as good on your body than natural alkaline water. And so again, the Kangen is not good, it's artificial, has kind of properties, but not as healthy like supposed to be because it's artificial. Your body has to be trained to drink those ionized air water to actually absorb. We had some people who have a Kangen, and they exchanged with us with this unit because they couldn't, stomach problem. They couldn't drink. So this unit today is about $1,200, not $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and it's natural. Totally everything what is happening to this water by this system is natural. There is nothing artificial. I will also say that online or somewhere someone may offer reverse osmosis system with alkaline cartridge. That's very popular statement on Amazon. So what the company is doing, they're using a simple reverse osmosis system and then adding cartridge with just crushed marble called calcite. And the saying system is alkaline, it's totally healthy, but this is not true. Calcite delivers very minimal amount of minerals, and it's just more likely just calcium, a little bit magnesium, and almost no potassium. So be careful what you're looking for. The good system has to deliver at least 30 to 50 milligrams of minerals, of total minerals. This one does. Those other ones from Amazon, it is never exceed more than 10 because the calcite is very hard to rock. It cannot be dissolved. So anyway, the big picture is our company, we build DeMoss, we searching new contaminants, we're trying to address new contaminants, and I believe this is the best today what you can find on the market. In addition, very purified, ionized, hydrogen-rich, alkaline, and everything is adjustable. Here's the switch, and you can